Hi, I'm Emily.
And I'm Mary.
Welcome to Chatterbox Box, an F1 podcast.
Box.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Chatterbox Box, where Emily and I chat about all things Formula One. And oh my goodness, do we have things to chat and giggle about this race weekend? First of all, Emily and I, utterly speechless of the race outcome. I still need time to process it, even though I think we've had about 2 hours too. It just seems so unreal.
I'm having a very hard time right now because the race did end about 2 hours ago, but this is like an unusual race for us. It's one of the only races in our time zone other than Canada. Usually the race comes on like very early in the morning or in the middle of the night, and we have a lot of time to process. And usually the race goes one very specific way that we're all used to. But not only did we get a race in our time zone, but we also got a race with an absolute shocker of an ending that nobody was predicting or expecting. And I am just kind of at a loss for words. I'm still having a hard time trying to understand if that really happened. Did Lando really just get his first win? Like, am I still asleep? I don't know. So just bear with us if you're along for the ride. We didn't want to delay filming this and push it off to a later day, but I think it's still like settling in what just happened, and I just feel like I can't even process it.
Oh, I know. And I guess while we're trying to process everything that happened about 2 years ago, 2 hours ago, I will admit that I had the biggest moment of FOMO for this race weekend. Everyone just seemed like they were having so much fun. I love the Miami vibes and the Miami aesthetics, like the neon blues and pinks and the bright colors were just speaking to me. And seeing that fake marina with the fake boats, I was like, I want to be there. It probably cost like $1 million, and I probably wouldn't have been able to get a seat there, but I would have been close. And I also would have been close enough to support our F1 Academy girlies. They did so well. They are such bad asses. And honestly, they deserve so much more recognition and face time.
Mhm. Yeah, this was like a very FOMO filled race for me as well, because I think there is some sort of physical geography distance with the Europe and the Asia and the Australia races where it's genuinely not really feasible for us to be there. So I don't really feel that FOMO. But like Miami is a 2 hour flight. The flight is actually very cheap, and the tickets weren't terrible this year for Miami, and then we maybe had this like hookup for Miami, so it could have been very feasible that we had been able to go there, and it just did not work out. The FOMO was pretty rough because it was in our time zone. I just felt like we should be there. I love Florida, so I just,
I know.
the FOMO was real. I also mentioned last week I was at a work training for majority of this race. Today was the first day, today being Sunday, was the first day that I wasn't at this training. We could actually watch live. So I missed every other race live. I was watching back later. I missed some of the F1 Academy stuff in its entirety because I just didn't have time to catch up. And this was just such a jam packed weekend to not be like fully honed in and watching. So the FOMO was so real, but I am so happy that I was able to tune into this race live because this race I will never forget.
This was a race, or this is a race to remember. Definitely FOMO because we had a bunch of friends in Miami as well. Podium Pop is currently down there, maybe making their way back home. Sabrina
Mhm.
was down there. Like, literally everyone was down there, and, like, just seeing all of their stories and their reels and TikToks and all of that, I was like, "Oh, I could have been in
Mhm.
their background just, like, walking past."
Yeah, and so many celebrities were there too. Zayn from One Direction was there. Camila Cabello was there, and she was like super, super engaged in the content creation. I don't know if you saw this, but she made a video with the Charles Leclerc audio, like the
Yes!
Charles Leclerc, Charles Leclerc. Like she made a video, like, and I was like, wait, what? She's in the fandom? She knows? I was shocked. Travis Kelsey was there. Just like so many people were there. All of our favorite F1 content creators were there. And there were also some people that we don't like there. I'm not going to name names, but plenty of people we were shocked to see there and not so thrilled about. But also so many people that we love were there. And it was just like, oh my gosh. Manifesting going next year, perhaps. I think we both really want our first race to be Monaco, but if the cards align and we get to go to Miami next year, I'll take that as our first race.
I will take that as a win. I mean, Miami, Monaco, they both start with the letter M,
Mhm.
so it's not too far off, and honestly, that just makes it so much easier to actually go to Monaco because we know exactly kind of what to expect
Mhm.
and be able to suss out the environment a little bit.
Yeah, Miami is also such a feasible, quick trip for us. It's very common for people from our area to just do a long weekend to Miami. So it's very feasible for us to be able to go there and also go to Monaco next year. So we're just manifesting a really great May 2025. And please join us in our manifesting. We could use all the energy we can get.
Absolutely. I also want to talk about the on-track commentary, within
Mm,
F1 Academy. I was a little bit disappointed. This was not something that I heard on the F1 TV, commentary. I think F1 TV commentary, they do a really good job at being well-informed and actually talking about the drivers and their performance and providing us with enough background information, but the commentators actually on the track were a little bit disappointing. I think there was a man that was essentially continuing to talk about Abby Pulling's age and how she looks so young, and, like, that was something he could not get over, and it was just, like, I think commentary from race 1 and race 2, and even when she was on the podium, and while it is cool, I think, to give credit to young drivers, it was said so in a way that was a little bit more ick, like, "I can't believe she's 21 when she looks like 16." It gave just not good vibes.
Was this the commentary like live?
Yeah, like, the commentary that you can hear while you're on the track
Oh, okay.
at the
Yeah,
race.
because F1 Academy commentary on F1 TV wasn't terrible. I didn't watch
No.
the first race, unfortunately, but I watched the second race today. And there were a few moments where I was like, this feels a little patronizing. The moment I'm thinking of specifically, there's like Abby Pulling about to cross the race line. It's less than a fourth of a lap away. And they're like, is she going to do it? And there was like literally no way she was not going to do it. I think Bianca Bustamante was in second, and she was far enough away that there was like no possible way that she would overtake. And I was just like, what?
There was a big enough gap. I was more worried about Bianca and Dorian, like,
Mhm.
Dorian overtaking Bianca, because I thought that was pretty close.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, F1 Academy was really entertaining this week. It was exciting to see the second, I guess, I don't, not the second race because they do two races per weekend. So the third and fourth race, but like the second city of the series was really fun to see because last time Dorian Penn was like dominating. And we were thinking that Dorian Penn was going to be basically the Max Verstappen of F1 Academy this year. So it was nice to see another driver come through. I think Abby Pulling won both races, right?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, so good for her. And I was so happy to see Bianca doing well today. That was really exciting. I'm wondering if she's getting like the benefit of the McLaren upgrades that the F1 team is getting, because that was like a huge improvement from last race weekend. And I know she was probably thrilled to be up there. It was just a really good weekend for McLaren in general.
Yeah, I think so. And I want to talk about the golf carts because
Oh,
they
yes.
were so cute. Taking them from, I guess, like the track to the podium, like just
Mhm.
the cutest shade of pink. And I also love the fact that with Abby Pulling being on Alpine and her winning, like winning the race, she was able to actually take a ride in the pink golf cart.
Yeah, and I think it was only the pink golf cart for the first place person too, because the other ones were
Yeah,
different colors. So I loved that. I was like, "Oh, this is so cute." Because seeing Lando in the pink golf cart too, I was like, "Lando in the pink golf cart, yes!"
I loved
It was so cute. I
it.
loved it so much. I also loved how many people were out to support F1 Academy this weekend. It felt like they really, really tried to amplify their marketing efforts. I saw that they collaborated a lot with For the Girls, the podcast. I think it was like yoga on the beach. That was really cool. All of the WAGs were there. I saw Kika at F1 Academy. I believe Alex and Rebecca were also there. I know Lissy McIntosh was there. So it was just cool to see how many people were showing up to support. I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure Kendall Jenner was there, like supporting them as well.
So,
So yeah, and then they announced this weekend that F1 Academy is going to get their own Netflix. I don't think it's a series. I think it's just a documentary, like a movie type thing, produced by Reese Witherspoon.
I cannot wait. I might have misheard. It might be a docuseries, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But regardless, I am
Hmm.
so excited for our girls to
Hmm.
actually get more recognition because they work
Yeah.
so hard, and I think there's just so much, I think, pressure behind, 1, being a really good driver, and 2, trying to fit into, like, the societal mold of what a girl should be and should look like. I know at one point, Bianca was feeling a little bit self-conscious about a photo that she was taken in, and it showed her super awesome, strong neck, and she was a little bit insecure about that, but I was like, "Girl, that neck is helping you win races." And
Hmm.
it's just I'm going to be so, so excited just to see, like, how nuanced driving is from the perspective of women.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really, really big step in just normalizing the idea in general of women in motorsports so that we can help get these girls pushed up through the other feeder series and make their way into Formula One eventually. So, very, very exciting effort. Shout out to Reese Witherspoon for wanting to amplify these voices. That is really cool. And shout out to Susie Wolf, because you know that she is out there hustling to get all these opportunities and to bring all this light and attention into F1 Academy. And we love you, Susie.
Ugh, she's killing it. The drivers are killing it. Honestly, F1 Academy just killing it.
I think the next race that F1 Academy is going to be at is Barcelona. So I'm excited to see that, excited to see the further steps they take to integrate that into the race weekend and any sort of collaboration that comes up. Just excited to see the momentum of F1 Academy and continue watching and seeing if we get a Dorian Penn and Abby Pulling supremacy this year, or is somebody else going to come up and surprise us in weekend 3? Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Bianca is going to pull through because she seems like a great contender as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's hustling this year, and I think it sounded like she did an interview and she was talking about how she's getting a lot of support and guidance from the McLaren F1 team. Also, Lando is like helping to mentor her a lot as well. So maybe Lando's win will manifest a Bianca win for us. I don't know. I would love to see it though.
I love to hear it.
Let's get into the F1 race weekend. So, as I said at the beginning of this episode, I really missed a lot of this weekend. So, I'm wondering if there was any takeaways. We only had one free practice this week. Did you watch that? Did you have any takeaways from it? Did anything happen in the free practice that I missed?
Yes, I also missed this because it was during normal hours for
Mm.
us, and I had other obligations. But the one moment that I missed out on was Charles spinning out in Formula
Oh.
One, and he actually blocked the track.
Oh.
And it was I'm glad there was, like, a yellow flag there, and I'm glad everyone was fine, and Charles was fine as well, but there was a moment where he was literally parallel or, like, perpendicular to the racetrack, and Lewis actually comes driving up, and it's like, "Hey, friend." It reminds me of that one moment where Charles and Lewis were doing an interview of, "Oh, who would you love Charles to be, like, your next teammate?" And Charles is, like, a little bit coy, and he's like, "Hello, Lewis."
Right,
It was,
right,
like, that moment where it was like, Charles is there, and he's so sorry, but, "Hi, future teammate. Sorry."
I actually did see memes of that. I didn't realize that that was in the free practice, so that's actually very funny, and I'm glad he was okay because I it's so
Yeah,
scary to me whenever they spin out and they end up back on the track. That could go so wrong. So I'm glad he's okay and
absolutely.
that we were able to like make memes out of it and it became a laughable moment.
Absolutely. Yes. I think that was the only memorable thing from free practice, but in the sprint race, I just have to give kudos to Kevin Magnussen. I know this race weekend has been pretty terrible for him, but
Mm.
he is nothing but a team player. Whenever Nico Hulkenberg does really well, K-Mag is in the back of the grid holding everybody up. And there was this really cute like interview moment where someone asks Hamilton what he thought because Kevin was holding like Lewis back, and he like Kevin was basically like, I have to take one for the team, and if I'm going to get penalties, it is what it is. But when Lewis was asked about it, Lewis said, I mean, it's really honest of him. I think it's pretty cool. Hamilton told Sky, we had a good race. It was a little bit on the edge in some places, but that is what I love. I love racing hard. So for me, it wasn't really frustrating or anything. That is obviously what you do to work as a team. So
Mm.
bravo. And it was just really nice for, like, just to hear Lewis acknowledge the fact that sometimes you're gonna have to battle out with each other, and it's fine.
Lewis does not care this season. He's like, yeah, actually, that was kind of funny. I don't care. If Lewis was up there battling for P1, P2, P3 in the championship, he would have been pissed. I wonder if season in general is almost like a healing experience for him, where he can just show up, enjoy the sport, have fun, not take it too seriously, knowing that next year he's probably going to be thrust right back into the competition, considering how good the Ferrari car has been if they keep up that
Mhm.
momentum. So it's just like, I don't know, it's refreshing to see him be able to just show up and be like, yeah, okay, that was funny.
It is really refreshing just to see him go from world championship and
Mhm.
being so serious about getting that first place position, or at least being in the top, like, the podium, and being there consistently, whereas now he's really just enjoying his time, supporting his other driver friends, and truly just being out there, being like, "Yeah, that really was, like, a great race for him, and I'm just happy to be here."
Yeah. Also, speaking of the sprint race, we have to talk about Daniel Ricciardo, obviously, because
Yes.
nobody was expecting that P4 finish. I think that was his best finish probably since he went to Renault. I mean, I know he had maybe one win at Renault, one or two wins at Renault. I know he had that one win at McLaren that Zach Brown got the tattoo for, but I think this is probably his best finish in like 3 or 4 years. I think that is some of the joy of a sprint race. And we were talking about this earlier today, how I feel like a lot of these cars can maintain speed for a shorter amount of time, and it seems like a little bit more fair of a competition, but they can't do it for the longer actual race. So it tends to add a little bit more room for opportunity and competition, which is really great for him. But it's also really hard because then today he flopped. So I don't know. It was hard because it was really bittersweet. It was really cool to see him get his best finish in a while. I was like, oh my gosh, Daniel Ricciardo fourth in the sprint. And then he qualified, I think 19th or 20th. And it was so disproportionate that it was hard to even really root for his good result because of how rough the actual quality in the actual race was.
Yeah, it is really interesting. I was happy. I was teased for a little bit, and I think he was super excited. He said something about this is a good reminder for some people that he still has it. But I'm like, Danny, do you really? I don't want to discount his position during the sprint race, but at the same time, like those were two contrasting results.
Right. Yeah, that's a really big statement to make. Very interesting as an insecure girly. You would never hear me make a statement like that. You would never hear me celebrate my own success unless it was like a consistent ongoing success. And to make a statement like that, like, yeah, guys, don't doubt me because I'm thriving at P4 and then to get P20 the next day. You could never hear me do that. So honestly, I admire his confidence. I wish that he could bottle a little bit of it and sell it to the masses because I could use some of that.
Absolutely. I think if I were to be a driver, and this is why I could not be a competitor in any sport
Mhm.
or anything like that, I would have to wait for at least 2 or 3 years to make sure that it wasn't a fluke,
Mhm.
and I would
Mhm.
be so humble. I would be like, "Yeah, I mean, I could have done a lot better out there, to be completely honest with you guys,
Mhm.
but I did work my hardest and I did try my very best."
No,
And they'd be like,
honestly.
"What do you mean? You got first place."
Right. I'd be like, yeah, but like I got first place by 5 seconds and it could have been six. So I'm not really that thrilled with it. So
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know. I do admire Danny because, to be honest, I would have quit after Renault. I would have been like, nope, it's a sign. Like, I'm a certified quitter. I am not going to persevere. If it's not going well, I'll go find something that's going well. I'm not going to keep trying until it goes well. So I really admire him for that. I think that's a trait that, like, all athletes have. Like, they want to keep pushing and try to get to the top. I'm not an athlete. I have never had that athletic competitive spirit in me. So it's hard for me to connect to because I'm always like, I would have quit 3 years ago, but good for you. So I imagine it was really empowering for him to have that win, be like close to the podium, high up in the points, doing really well. I think he loves America, so he was probably excited that that happened in Miami. I know he prefers Coda, Texas, whatever, but he was probably pretty hype and he's pretty well loved in America. So I'm sure the crowd was going nuts.
Absolutely. The other driver that I want to applaud is Logan Sargent. I know. We say this time and time again. We are the biggest Logan Sargent fans and defenders here on this podcast, and for me to say, "Oh, yeah, Danny did really well in 4th place, but he kind of flopped," and me kind of backtracking to say, "Logan was in 10th place during the sprint." I know you don't get points when you're 10th during a sprint race, but I was so happy for him. He was really pushing it. I was really rooting for him.
Oh,
And yes, he also flopped during the race. But you know what? He, I think, has a lot more at risk for his drive for the following year. I think there's, with Danny, he is at risk, but he has so much history and so many fans, loyal fans,
mhm.
that I'm sure a lot of the teams put into consideration to see if it's worth investing in Daniel. But Logan, I'm not sure if there's a lot of teams that can say the same thing. And that's why I'm so strongly for Logan to win in any way that he can.
I actually think this weekend for me just confirmed that Danny's not going anywhere. I think he might stick around next year. The reason that I think that is because there's this it felt almost like calculating set of photos of him walking through the paddock with helmet Marco. And the second I saw that, I was like, oh, he's good next year.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've ever seen Yuki walking around with helmet Marco. I don't even think I've ever seen Checo walking around with helmet Marco. I know I've seen Max, but I think he's good. I think we're going to see him again next year, which is somewhat surprising to me, but also not surprising because we had those comments from Christian Horner last week saying, like, I don't even know when or if Liam Lawson is coming to F1. So I've been starting to suspect. I don't know if I'm just like reading too much into things, but I'm worried for Logan because there were all these rumors going out that this is his last chance this weekend. And if he doesn't do well, they'll replace him with Kimi in Imola. I don't even want to say he didn't do well because I think, as you said, he got P10 in the sprint, and that was really good. That would have been in the points if it was a regular race. And today in the race, he was maintaining P15, P16. He wasn't at the bottom. He wasn't in the points, but I don't know. I think maybe he could have moved up like one or two spots throughout the course of the race if he was able to finish the race. I don't think he would have made it to the points. But then he got in that crash with K Mag, and I think it was K Mag's fault because I'm pretty sure K Mag then got a penalty. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to be really sad if they let him go after this weekend because P10 is a big improvement, and his DNF was not his fault. So I hope that they can be fair and give him a little bit more of a shot.
I don't normally feel so attached to
Mhm.
people. I am usually fine, but I think if Logan were to be gone and to get replaced so soon, my heart would hurt for him because I know how much it means to everyone to have a place on the grid. And I know Logan has been working really hard, but the opportunities just haven't been fair or equal. And I think that's where my frustration is. Because I remember when I was watching Drive to Survive and catching up last year, I was like, Nick DeVries has got to go. Sorry, not sorry, bye-bye. So I don't know, like a part of me is very much attached and invested in Logan's success.
By the time you started watching, Nick DeVries was gone. But watching it actually live, it was like, oh, that felt a little harsh. Like he didn't even really get a chance. I think it was like 5 or 6 races, and they were like,
Yeah,
"You
that's
gotta
true.
go." So it felt really harsh. And then to bring in Danny, who then didn't do well, it was like he's not really doing much better than Nick was. So I don't know. Anyway, sidetracked. I don't want to beat this topic to death because I know we talk about Logan literally every single
All the
podcast
time.
every time, and we always go on a spiel of our defense of Logan and why he should get to stay. But when he DNF'd in the race today, I just felt this like sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach of like, shit, I think that's it for Logan Sargent. And I really hope I'm wrong. I really do. But
I hope
I
so.
don't know. I feel worried.
Yes. It was like that instinctive
Mhm.
feeling. I know the other moment that we have to talk about in the sprint is Lando. I think he was out at around lap 1, maybe lap 2. I believe it was because Stroll and Lando, like their cars kissed a little, which was not great for Lando. Lando was obviously very upset, and he also got penalized by $50,000 because he got out of his car and ran across the track. And I know we were just talking about this, I think 2 episodes ago, where Valtteri was just getting out of his car and walking to the side, and that felt a lot safer. Lando literally crossed the track where
Right.
he really could have been hit. So I definitely understand that 50K fee because that was scary.
Yeah, that was bold. That was a bold move. And that could have been really dangerous. I also think it's very interesting because this weekend has had a lot of like one extreme or the other. We had Daniel doing pretty well in, well, really well in the sprint and then terribly in the race. And then we had Lando doing terribly in the sprint and then winning the race is just mind blowing to me. But I also am so curious about what's going on at the McLaren PR because Oscar and Lando have been making some very blunt comments to the media. So last week or last race, they were talking to Oscar about how Lance crashed into Danny and how like people were braking and stuff like that. And Oscar said yes, but everyone else didn't crash into each other.
You know what? That is just on brand with Oscar's personality. I think
Yeah.
he's always been the type of person to be blunt.
Mhm.
And that's not something that you can really PR your way out of because that's just a characteristic thing. And I don't think he means to say it in a rude, negative, or any type of way. It just is.
Oscar just does not care. He is so unbothered by everything. I think actually today in the race was the first time I ever saw him slightly bothered because he was like aggressively trying to get his way out of
Hustling.
the back of the grid, and the race engineer had to be like, "Can you please chill?" Because Lando's in first and we don't want to cause a safety car. But the whole reason why I even brought up that quote that he said is because I think he's rubbing off on Lando. Because then they asked Lando about the whole incident with Lance Stroll in the sprint. And Lando said, "Nothing I could have done. I think today we paid the price for being around others that are careless."
Oh, oh, oh.
So McLaren
Okay.
said, "Gloves off. We are just going to talk freely. We're going to be blunt, whatever." And they are the Lance Stroll antis. So, okay, McLaren.
Sorry, Lance.
Sorry,
Maybe you just
Lance.
need to like take a chill pill.
Mhm.
Relax a
Yeah,
little bit.
Lance definitely needs to be a little bit more careful when he's driving because that's been like two kind of careless incidents in a row. Let's get it together.
Absolutely. And even during that first incident, he was like, well, it wasn't me.
He's like, yeah, yeah, racing incident, racing incident. I'm
It's
like,
fine. It's fine.
you sure about
Like,
that?
own up to it, Lance.
Honestly.
First of all, I don't know what is in the air in Miami. I don't know what they're drinking, what they're eating, but it was, first off, a very chaotic race, but two, like, everyone just looked so good. There were drivers that I usually don't go like, "Oh, cute." But the entire time, this entire weekend, I was messaging Emily and I was like, "Look at him. Why is he kinda like hello?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Logan. Usually we're like, Logan's really young, whatever. What was going on? There is one very, very specific video of Carlos Sainz coming out, and he's like sweaty, and his hair is in this like slick back. I'm still sweating about that. Charles in the driver's parade today with his backwards cap, like what was going on? Lewis's outfits in the paddock were they're always next level, but they were like next level. Everyone had my jaw dropping. There is something in the air in Miami, and I would like to bottle it and consume it because wow.
I need whatever that is. Like confidence, whether it's just the Miami
Mhm.
heat and everyone is glowing because of that, but I think whatever happened from like pre-race just trickled into the actual race. I thought that we were going to get like super chaotic, and we didn't necessarily get super chaotic because there was only one DNF, and
Mm.
overall everyone was pretty safe. But seeing some of those gaps between drivers, I don't remember who it was, but Lewis had almost like a 10-15 second gap to the next position. And I was like, what is happening?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a weird race. Like it was very chaotic, but it wasn't like DNF safety car red flag chaotic. We had that one safety car. Actually, we had two. We had the one for the Max pole when he hit the pole, and then we had one for Logan. And somehow it was still very chaotic. There was a lot of fighting, a lot of overtaking. Carlos was definitely in his villain era, like 100%. And also, Max Verstappen missed the corner and hit a cone. And I don't know, was he hungover?
No way.
Because that was not like him. I don't think I've ever seen him make a mistake. I'm still
I
shocked by
know.
that.
I laugh at it like the entire time they kept replaying it. I was like giggling because I'm like, that is not Max. That must be Checo.
Mm.
But it was Max.
I was like,
I was
what?
like, how is Max doing this? He's usually
Yeah.
so on point. He's like, usually like the night before, I'm pretty sure he's doing sim racing. Get himself in
Oh,
the mindset.
yes. Actually, no, that is so funny because that brings up a really funny point I wanted to make about how Max in between every race is like sim racing. 10 hours a day minimum. I must practice. I need to be great. My life is racing. Lando Norris last weekend was drunk out of his mind on a boat, injured his nose, absolutely trashed, partying with Martin Garrix and My Life is Ava, and then comes back to work and wins the GP. And so if that's not a life lesson, I don't know what is. Basically what I learned from this GP is that work is not that serious and you should enjoy your life outside of work.
Work-life balance.
Work-life balance. Lando Norris is the president of work-life balance.
We love to see it. Also, can we just take a moment to talk about how sassy Carlos was? This man was trying to barter with Oscar for basically pushing Carlos off the track, and he's talking on the radio with his engineers on the pit wall. And he's like, "Okay, I don't really care. If he gives me my position back, we won't like we won't deduct his points. Like he won't be penalized for it." I was like, what?
I'm so glad you brought that up because I completely forgot about that. That was one of the funniest parts of this entire race. Carlos Sainz is such a Virgo. He is such a control freak. He's like, yeah, I'm going to decide if they give Oscar a penalty or not. And if me and him swatch spaces, he doesn't have to give a penalty. And I'm like, you don't get to decide that.
No. And this whole time he's like talking to the engineers as if the engineers aren't looking and seeing everything that he's seeing. He's like, "Did you see that? That is completely unacceptable." And they're like, "Listen, my guy, we're on it." And then I think like after a few moments, like there was no further investigation, so they went back on the radio and they said, "No further investigation, no further investigation." And Carlos was so pissed. I don't remember the exact word, but it was like along the lines of unacceptable.
So funny. Carlos is like, I'm not just a driver, I'm also head strategist of Ferrari, and I also am the FIA. Like, it's just me. There was also some moment in this race where Carlos was like, don't talk to me, Ricky.
Wait, I remember that because I like sent you a voice memo. I was like, "Don't talk to me, Ricky."
I love Carlos so much, my little Virgo man. He is so great. I relate to him a lot because I'm the exact same way. I don't trust other people with important things in my life. I will micromanage things that impact me, and I do not want to hand off things that impact me to another person. I will happily be a team player for anything other than things that directly impact me.
Yes, absolutely. And I think even at one point he was talking about having a really good pace, and I think he had full intentions of just overtaking Charles. And I was 100% there. I was like, I love Charles to death, but give me the Carlos Villain era. I really wanted to see it happen.
Honestly, I would have loved for that podium to be Lando and the Ferrari boys. Just saying.
Same.
But obviously, that's unrealistic. I definitely thought that Carlos was going to go full villain era and just slide right on past Charles, because I think there was a good period of time where he had a faster pace. But
Yeah.
Charles was hustling this race. There was plenty of laps where he was getting fastest lap. He was fighting. I don't know if it was his little outfit. The blue was really speaking to him. Speaking of his outfit, I don't know if you noticed this, but they're both in the blue suits, right? But there was this one difference that was pointed out to me by our F1 Threads community. Why did just Charles have that little white accent on the bottom half of his suit that looked like a thong? Did you see it?
No.
They both are wearing all blue, but his has this little accent that looks like he has like the whale tail thong poking out.
Oh my god.
I need to find it.
I never noticed that. I saw this. So I'm sorry to Alex, but the second I saw this photo after free practice 1, I was checking out Charles's butt and I didn't even notice that thong situation. I was just like, damn, Alex is lucky. He got a badonkadonk.
I honestly didn't really notice it because I didn't notice that Carlos didn't have it and only Charles did. And I didn't notice it until people on Threads pointed it out. I think it was Ryan. She pointed it out and I cannot unsee it now. Like, why did they give only him this little thong?
They were like, you know what would accentuate his tootie booty? Like his a little bikini bottom line.
Also, he brought back the pants. Did you see? He wore his pants again.
I love his pants.
I love that this man is definitely at bare minimum a millionaire and he rewears outfits. I love that.
Yes. And you know what? Those are just really nice pants. I don't care what anyone says about Charles and his jeans and what they look like. This man could literally wear a leotard and I would just sit there and I'd be like, oh, he looks so great.
There's something so endearing to me about when men are clearly like going a little bit out of the fashion ordinary, like only for men, because I just feel like it's so almost taboo for men to put effort into their outfit and their appearance. And when Lewis does it, he is just so chic, effortless, carefree that I don't know if he has the same feeling, but I just have this image of Charles like in his house, like, okay, maybe I should go a little bit out of the box today. Maybe I should put on those like funky pants and sending pictures to Alex and be like, do you think I should do it today? I just imagine it being this thing because he's usually very careful with his outfits. He very much just has this very basic formula that he follows and he does not deviate out of it. And then every once in a while he brings out these really funky pants. So I just can't even hate on them because I know he's just like, he's trying and he's clearly feeling himself because he keeps wearing them. So justice for his pants.
I love it. Whenever men go out of their way to just try something new, like
Yeah.
Lewis is Lewis, like he's a fashionista, joke on you, a fashionista. Lance, he has fashion parents, so it's kind of a given. But like when Charles, just God bless. You're doing amazing, sweetie. We love it.
So cute. Anyway, I historically am not the biggest Lando fan. I think you really like Lando. You put him in your top 3 drivers when we started this podcast. You said he's right below Charles for you. I think he dropped down as the weeks went on. But for me, he's never really been in my top 3, my top 5, probably in my top 10. I'm just ambivalent towards Lando. But I felt very hype last week when he was on that boat with My Life as Ava and he was drunk out of his mind because I too would love to be drunk out of my mind on a boat with My Life as Ava. So that really bumped him up in my life. Watching him win today was, I don't even know if I can put it into words. I'm still processing. It just feels unreal. I definitely cried a little bit. I was tearing up.
Oh,
It was just like really heartwarming because that was his first win. I think they said he's been in over 100 race starts in F1, and this is his first win. And that is just so heartwarming. He looked like he was really appreciating it. I posted a video on our social media of him on the podium, like getting his trophy, the champagne, and he just looked like he was just taking it in as like, did this really just happen? And that's how I feel too. It's now been almost over 3 hours since the race ended, and I still am like, did that just happen?
he must be like, first of all, I'm 100% sure he's delayed all flights. He is partying in Miami. The McLaren team is partying in Miami. Book the plane tickets. It's fine.
Mhm.
I,
Can you even
I
imagine? Can you imagine what kind of party you think he's having? What do you think he's doing right now?
I mean, he must be DJing.
He's probably too drunk to DJ. He might have rented a yacht. I feel like he's gonna have one of those nights that's like no cost is too high. He might drop $100,000 tonight, minimum,
At
partying.
least. I mean, he spent 50K just to run across
That's
the
true.
freaking racetrack.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, Miami is so expensive. Like, but there's no shortage of clubs. He could literally walk into any club, get a table, turn up. I could also see him renting a boat, throwing a boat party. I don't. Oh
Oh my
my
god.
gosh, I can't even imagine. His
Oh,
friends are probably like zooming. I was wondering, like, is Martin Garrix in Miami today? Is Max
for
F in
real.
Miami today? If not, they probably hopped on a plane immediately to get there and like celebrate
Absolutely.
with him because I just can't even imagine. It's just like something so heartwarming about seeing people who aren't Max win in the Max domination era. I wonder if this is how people felt during the Lewis domination era. I wonder if it was just as draining to watch him win all the time. But it was just like so, so heartwarming. I'm going to remember this for a long time.
Yeah, it was just so cute, I think. He immediately thanked his parents. This one is for my grandma, he said. I was like, oh my god. I thought you were like a fuck boy, but look at the like I just cute. He ran and jumped into his team's arms. He body surfed. I was like, "Oh my god." Whenever they were interviewing the podium winners, it looked like he was tearing up and he was like just taking it all in. And I was like, "Is he tearing up because now I'm the same?" Like, that is so sweet. And I don't know. That just it's really nice just to see him actually get this. I think he wholeheartedly deserved it, especially just year after year not getting a podium. And now in Miami, you can't have it better than this.
I'm so happy for him. I think he took it very seriously, very to heart. I think it's a life changing day for him. There's just something so heartwarming about watching people accomplish their dreams. It is just an unparalleled feeling. It makes me understand why people love sports so much. And I really enjoyed getting to see him do that. I think that also we really saw a lot of insight into his relationship with other people. Everybody was so happy for him. I feel like people were excited for Carlos and they were like, oh, this is so fun that someone other than Max won. But the like genuine unrestrained joy from every single driver about Lando's win says a lot about him and a lot about his relationship with all the other drivers. And that was nice to see too.
Yeah, I think on top of him body surfing with his team, the second most memorable thing for me about Lando's win was that basically everyone came up to him, gave him a hug, congratulated him. It was just so nice to see that one, Lando is a stand-up guy, but
Mm,
also two, whatever happens on the racetrack stays on the racetrack. aside
Mm-hmm.
from a couple of tiffs here and there, Lance being careless and
Yeah.
not taking accountability. But overall, these drivers are hanging out with each other pretty much like all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're spending weekends with each other. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just really nice to see that they actually do support each other, especially seeing Lando not like getting his race win, and this was his moment, and no one
Yeah.
ever took that experience away from him, even though they might have been disappointed in their race.
Yeah, and it's honestly such a unique sport that really only the 19 other drivers there understand fully the extent of what you're going through and what your life is like. So there I feel like there's always this sense of camaraderie that is going to be there no matter what, because those are the only people that really truly know. And it was also, I think, really nice to see Max Verstappen kind of be like a human in that moment. It was nice to see how like genuinely happy he was for Lando, and it spoke a lot to their friendship. And I think he's just like a really liked person in the paddock. So congrats to Lando. I'm so happy for him, and I hope that he's having the time of his life. I think his hangover might last until Imola. So good luck. Stay hydrated.
Yeah, hydrate or dihydrate. So have fun.
For real. The only other thing I really wanted to talk about from this weekend was how much I loved all the WAG content that we got. There were so many moments with the girlfriends or the wives just hanging out and chilling together. We got a lot of content of the Ferrari girlfriends. We got a lot of content of Kika. And one of my favorite things I saw, I did a video about this on our social media, but there was a picture that Lissy McIntosh posted of her, Kika, Morgan, one another like big F1 content creator, and Carmen, and it was so in tune with the Dirty Air series girls. The only thing that would have made it more on par was if Kika had blue eyes, but it was just like, wow, 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 wow. This is so wild. I wonder if they did that on purpose, because they all exactly fit the description of the Dirty Air girlies, except for Kika having brown eyes instead of blue. And I absolutely loved seeing that. It was so fun. I loved seeing all the wags out to support F1 Academy. As I said, it just felt really cool. It felt like everybody was being recognized. It just felt like all the girlies were out supporting each other, acknowledging each other, spending time together. And that was really heartwarming to see, because similar to what I just said with when you're a driver, only the 19 other people understand what's going on. I think when you are a partner of a driver, only other partners of drivers understand what it's like. So I just love to see them banding together, appreciating each other, and just having the sense of camaraderie and support. It was really nice to see in Miami.
Yeah, I love the wags. I know we always joke about being so and so's girlfriend or just casually flirting with these drivers,
Mm-hmm.
but there's the Lulu and then there's like D Lulu, and
Mm-hmm.
we're just casual delusionals. And we absolutely like, I love seeing the wags. I love seeing Kika and Alex just taking selfies together. They just look so cute. And I honestly just love being able to see their friendship on and off the paddock and around the racetrack. It's just really like encouraging to see that women are supporting each other. Rebecca, I know, is like Emily and I's like favorite just because she's so supportive with the fans, and she's like, "Well, you're beautiful too." And I don't know, like just seeing women support women is just so nice and
Yeah.
it makes me so happy.
Honestly, because I know we joke all the time about wanting to be wags and loving these drivers and like they're our number one like celebrity crushes and like blah blah blah. But in actual reality, I don't know if I could live that life, because you really have to uproot your entire life for your partner. You're jet setting around the globe all the time, really chained to their schedule. You are receiving so much hate. You have been reduced down to just Charles's girlfriend, Carlos's girlfriend. Like, you don't even really have an identity anymore. You can't really pursue any of your interests because you are jet setting around the world all the time. And there's all these eyes on you, so much pressure, paparazzi, etc. Like, It is a hard life. And I'm sure it's worth it. I'm sure they all have really good relationships and it's worth the struggle. But I've never seen all of the WAGs interact this much. And I hope that they continue with this because I'm sure that they could use each other's support.
Yeah, 100%. And if by happenstance they happen to listen to this, we love you, we support you, and we would love to hang out with you one of these days.
But otherwise, I don't really have a ton of thoughts about Miami. It superseded my expectations. I was just expecting just good energy, good media moments, chill beach vibes, and we got one of the most exciting races of the season. I hope that this ushers in even more exciting races this season. I am excited to see how the rest of the season goes.
Yes, for sure. If any of you guys have any thoughts about the Grand Prix, the races, F1 Academy, the WAGs, the outfits, Charles' race suit thong situation, please let us know in the comments or reach out to us on our socials, chat on TikTok and chatterboxboxf1 on Instagram and Threads. Next week, I know we've been teasing this for a whole month, but next week we will be releasing the final Dirty Air series, Redeemed, and I'm so excited to share that with you all. Next week is also Mother's Day in the US, so for all of those who celebrate and for all of the moms out there, happy Mother's Day. We love you. We appreciate you. Please spend time with your mothers and let them know that they are so much appreciated.
Yes, yes. Happy Mother's Day to everybody listening in the US and everybody not listening in the US who also wants to celebrate their mothers that day. Also, shout out to everybody that this is a hard day for. I know that not everybody has the best relationship with their mothers, or maybe their moms have sadly passed away. So, if this is a hard day for you next week, take care of yourself. If you need something fun and uplifting to listen to distract yourself, feel free to check out our Redeemed episode and to read along with the book. We are excited to post that, and we hope that y'all enjoy it. And if you have any other F1 related books, we have read a lot of them, but if you have any other F1 related books that you would like for us to check out and talk about, we are definitely open to that. So leave us a comment in this video or at any of our social medias.
All right, well, that's it from me. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I will catch you all next time. Over and out.
Bye.
Bye, F1 world.
No, not yet, not yet.
Oh no, I'm saying like bye for today.